A seismic rift has reportedly erupted within the hitherto united Sussex family enclave following a volcanic clash between Prince Harry and his mother-in-law Doria Ragland. The scorched earth confrontation allegedly culminated in the outraged Duke physically evicting Ragland from the couple's luxurious Montecito, California estate upon learning of her bombshell secret arrest and prison record previously hidden from him. Multiple sources describe an apocalyptic conflict detonating after Harry inadvertently uncovered legal documents confirming Ragland had been convicted and incarcerated for years over her admitted role in a bizarre fraud scheme defrauding the U.S. government. The Duke immediately exploded into a paranoid rage upon realizing his trusted mother-in-law's closely guarded criminal background had been concealed from the Windsors this entire time. Things went nuclear between them once Harry found those old records proving Doria essentially lived a secret double life, entrapping him and Meghan alongside her whole staged persona as this perfect, socially conscious icon, one insider explained under anonymity. He felt utterly betrayed learning this woman he'd institutionalized into their household turning a blind eye as she quite literally defrauded him into bankrolling her previous existence as a convicted felon all along. The insider continued painting an increasingly disturbing picture. Next thing you know, Harry's shouting and throwing all her possessions right out onto the street, violently evicting her after uncovering evidence she'd actually been imprisoned for government fraud at one point. Not exactly a stable, trustworthy influence to have around his children. He was furious Meghan never disclosed any of this shoddiness in Doria's background all along. At the crux of the impasse lay shocking revelations. Ragland spent over 5 years incarcerated at FCI Victorville, a medium-security federal prison facility for women located northeast of Los Angeles. The fateful prison stint stemmed from her 2004 conviction in a vast, Nigerian prince, advanced fee fraud conspiracy, illegally scamming victims across multiple states out of millions in upfront payment demands. Beginning in the late 1990s, investigative records indicate Ragland participated directly in the criminal ring, deploying sophisticated social engineering strategies, manipulating victims into wiring large cash advances toward wealthy African diplomats, purportedly seeking safely moving exorbitant inheritances into the United States. Of course, the promised fortunes always proved fictitious, disappearing alongside the money sent before victims realized they'd been duped through the age-old email scheme's deceptions. My client Ms. Ragland played a relatively minor role as one of several unwitting money mules assisting scheme principals transferring illicit funds across various disposable accounts while marketing the scam's trove narratives toward prospect marks, Ragland's former public defender Pamela Jacobson clarified when recontacted this week. Yes, it was undoubtedly illegal, but her overall involvement never extended beyond limited money laundering adjacencies, never proven organizationally complicit. She simply got caught possessing those proceeds somewhat naively at one point. Jacobson acknowledged her client had ultimately pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges, to mitigate threatened harsher sentences only after being seriously overcharged relative to her peripheral role. She said Ragland fully cooperated with federal prosecutions dismantling the larger transnational criminal organization behind the schemes alongside their domestic American confederates once in custody. Still, the convictions resulted in Ragland's 68-month federal prison stretch, carrying out her sentence prior to supervised release. How the yoga instructor managed completely concealing this arrest and incarceration history from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex remains murky. But whatever opacity surrounded those concealed events collapsed under scrutiny from the infuriated future king, uncovering truth finally piercing all mistruths and veils, appending the very foundations their domestic arrangements took for granted as earnest. I honestly believe Harry felt more brazenly defrauded and deceived by the closest people around him than anything the royal family's ever done when those proverbial Pandora's boxes burst open revealing Doria's double life, the friends speculated. That kind of unreserved confidence destruction truly left him questioning the viability of their entire family situation, forcing ultimatums and really seeing things for what they are rather than what he wished they'd been. The insider's assessment aligns with admittedly limited but consistent eyewitness reports alleging an epic meltdown occurred between the Duke and Ragland, immediately climaxing in her permanent ouster from Montecito after heated verbal confrontations rapidly devolved toward physical violence. At least one anonymous property staff member claimed fielding distressed calls from a frantic Harry, insisting security reinforce the perimeter before the prince began aggressively displacing all of his mother-in-law's furnishings and belongings from the estate. He was essentially having this weird manic outburst, flinging Doria's possessions out the front door, clothes, boxes, whatever, saying, "I want this criminal out now," over and over, the staffer detailed. Next thing you know, the entry courtyard's overflowing with evicted personal effects being piled up as he's shouted all kinds of furious diatribes about being hoodwinked alongside the kids. Despite unbiased accounts corroborating Harry's behavior toward Ragland appearing categorically ruthless in forcing her unceremonious expulsion, some royal commentators defended the prince's drastic actions based upon irrefutable proof confirming his unbridled humiliation discovering such deeply unsettling personal betrayal from loved ones. Indeed, numerous voices resonated empathizing the ex-Marine officer's visceral reactions unleashing upon so brutal a deception breach against familial ethics. In Harry's mind, he got played to the absolute heights imaginable, bringing an undisclosed career criminal right into his own home around impressionable children under completely faked pretenses, weaponizing trust as a courtship artifice, one criminal justice professor remarked on television broadcasts reviewing the controversy. Of course, it's understandable lashing out in such destabilizing fury toward those orchestrating the deception itself, violating the single inviolable human expectation you place in your own partner's family unit, never having any doubts about being conned so grotesquely. She continued, "Let's be clear, Doria Ragland is an adjudicated fraudster whose covert double life fundamentally revolved around participating in schemes consciously deceiving others through calculated affinity disinformation. So by definition, her entire personal brand toward Harry and Meghan potentially amounted to nothing more than insidious pretext grooming from day one, no matter how nicely aged yoga lifestyle was sold to them." While Montecito authorities confirmed responding to some kind of domestic situation at the Duke's estate, their policy prevents divulging identities or incident specifics beyond stating no criminal charges were ultimately pursued. However, the Sussex office has yet to release any official comments clarifying the explosive rupture specifics or Ragland's present familial status. Moving FO.